at 27800 and get our premium wash for free. Stay clean, superstars. Terms and conditions apply.
Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce creamy rich. One love.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
It's time for the annual Santan Ford President's Day sales event. For 4 days only, get any new Ford for 1 cent above invoice. You heard right. All in-stock vehicles are priced 1 penny above invoice. That'll save you thousands off MSRP. And with once-a-year special financing rates, there is no better time to get the vehicle you want. Don't miss the biggest sale of the year. There's only one Santan Ford President's Day sales event. 4 days only. Starts Friday. Restrictions may apply. Does not include specialty vehicles. See Santan Ford for details.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help that often requires only simple maintenance. However, if left untreated, could lead to costly repairs. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Don't wait until a simple garage door repair becomes a major problem. If your garage door is noisy, if bugs are getting in, or if it struggles to open, your garage door is in need of repair. From simple repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. We fix garage doors fast and with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Our springs, rollers, and openers are tested by running them up and down, open and close, all day, 24/7, so you can feel confident with every A1 garage door repair. Replacing the bottom rubber on your garage door can have a huge impact on the number of bugs you see in your garage and in your home. Keep those creepy crawlers outside by calling A1 Garage Door Service today and receive the best service, best parts, and best warranty in the industry.
A1Garage.com, A1 from day one.
Call today and take advantage of our $29.95 tune-up special.
What's better than a credit card with low interest? How about one with no interest? For a limited time, when you open a new America First Visa credit card, you'll enjoy 0% APR for the first 6 months. Transfer your balances from higher rate cards to your new America First card to consolidate debt and potentially save yourself a lot of money. That's zero interest for 6 months. Interested? Then hurry to americafirst.com to apply today. Introductory variable annual percentage rate is subject to membership, eligibility, terms, creditworthiness, change, and conditions. Other limits and requirements may apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal opportunity lender.
Hey, basketball fans, Tom Chambers here reminding you that just like in a game, you need a solid defense for your home. And that starts with a reliable roof from Right Way Roofing. Hey, Lori, as owner of Right Way Roofing, what sets you apart from the competition?
Our team tackles any roofing challenge, from shingles to tile to foam roofing. We'll make sure your roof wins against the toughest opponents, rain, wind, and even those scorching summer days.
Make Right Way Roofing your MVP.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you bothered tight.
Wish your school better fit your needs? Switching to Primavera Online mid-year is easy. Enjoy a flexible online education from the comfort and safety of home, plus exclusive benefits like free private tutoring and merit awards for college and more. Enroll at chooseprimavera.com.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD. It's the lunch break.
A historic night that ended with another loss. Welcome into today's edition of the lunch break. Live on KDUS AM 1060, the KDUS AM 1060 app, and the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. The Wednesday, that what day today is? Wednesday edition of the lunch break. We welcome you in. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours on what's a gloomy day out. Looks like it's going to rain, although everybody I talk to, I get a different story. Some people say, oh, yeah, it's going to rain. Other people say, no, the clouds outside are telling me one thing. People are telling me another. Just a very gloomy day today here in downtown Phoenix. There is a lot of basketball, but more importantly, it is officially the day that pitchers and catchers report in baseball. So we have a lot of baseball for you here today. Don't worry, we'll sneak in some Cardinals talk as well. But there's really only one place for us to start, right?
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
They showed fight. That's the one thing you can say. They showed fight, but they fell to the Memphis Grizzlies last night. 119-112, the final score. The Suns fall 1 game below 500. They fall a full 1 game back of the rest of the field in the play-in tournament, and I am all in. I am fully invested. I'm seeing who the Kings are playing tonight. I'm seeing who the Warriors are playing tonight. I'm seeing who the Mavs are playing. I am in full-blown scoreboard watching mode. The Suns are in action tonight. Every team in the NBA in action tonight, and so I start my day every single day. All right, who's Sacramento playing? Who's Golden State playing? Who are the Suns playing? Let's see. Is this a chance for the Suns to maybe gain some ground? I am full speed ahead. I'm fully invested at this point. Have to be. With now 29 games to go on the calendar. And last night, look, no moral victories at this stage of the season. You are not going to hear me say, oh, great effort, even though you lost. Great job. We can't do that with a team that's one game below 500. We can't get excited about a team that lost the game last night that they could have won. Why? Because Memphis left the door open. The Suns didn't fully take advantage of that opportunity. And so we are here talking about another Suns loss, a below 500 basketball team now, and a team that is a full one game back in the playoff race. And sort of the reverse script last night. Because the Phoenix Suns sort of kinda did to the Memphis Grizzlies what everybody else normally does to them. Because when this game got to halftime, it was a 12-point Memphis advantage. And we've seen the flip side of this. The Suns go into halftime with a nice 12-point advantage, and it is the opposing team that comes out, has a great third quarter, has a great second half, and they make the game competitive, and they beat the Suns. They're able to make a comeback. I think of that game against Minnesota recently as an example of this. Feels like what we've seen from this team over and over and over again. And last night, on a bit of a smaller scale because they didn't fully complete the comeback, the Suns flipped the script on Memphis, and they did it to Memphis last night with a decent second half performance. At one point, had the lead as small as 4. Grizzlies could never fully put the game away. And when you have Kevin Durant and you have Devin Booker, you're always going to have a chance. And Kevin Durant made history last night, becoming the 8th player in NBA history to reach the 30,000 point mark. Trust me, we are going to get into that here a little bit later on the show. And you have Devin Booker. You have a chance in these games in the second half if a team doesn't put you away. If a team doesn't end your run, they end your little push, and they allow you to make it as close as 4 points, you're going to have a chance. Unfortunately for the Suns, it wasn't enough, in large part because of what is the most glaring number in the box score. And you don't need a box score. If you watched the game last night, you saw it. The Suns struggled to shoot the ball from the three-point line. 27.3% is what they shot from three last night. I wanted to put it in its proper context because I think sometimes I throw numbers at you, people throw numbers out there, and you can't really contextualize what a 27.3% night from behind the three-point line means. You know it's bad, but I think the context I'm about to provide to you will show you how the Suns were even lucky to be in that game in the fourth quarter. Do you know what the Suns, I looked it up this morning, and I'm pretty sure it includes last night's game, where the Suns sit in the NBA when it comes to three-point shooting percentage? Do you know what it is? 37.5% is where they normally sit. That's their normal three-point percentage. 10 percentage points worse last night. Their normal clip is good for 6th in the league. Last night, their 27.3 number, that would have been worse than the worst team in the NBA. The Orlando Magic are the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. Do you know what they shoot from behind? Just to double check, just to make sure that nobody can point out at me and say, you know what, Chris, you gave us the wrong number. So I'm going to go to team rankings, and I'm going to look at shooting, and I'm going to look at three-point percentage. Phoenix Suns sit 6th at 37.5%. The Orlando Magic are the worst team in the NBA at 30.5%. And last night, the Phoenix Suns shot 27.3 from behind the three-point line. That's how bad last night was. And so sometimes you have to just throw your hands in the air and say, you had a bad night. The Suns were in that game. They got the lead to as small as 4 points, having what would statistically be the worst three-point shooting night in the NBA. It's 3 percentage points worse than the worst team in the NBA, Orlando. That's how bad last night was. Yet the Suns were in that game in the second half. I'm not giving out moral victories, but are you surprised that the Suns fell short last night considering all? There was one shot in particular. I forget where it happened in the game. And a quick aside, because yesterday on the show, if you didn't join us, we had a fun little side quest that we were going to go on. Because last night, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I coached my daughter's softball team. So I knew going in that softball would overlap a little bit with the start of the basketball game. So we played a fun game. Producer Dylan, we added to the wrinkle of how important the game is. We asked when I got in the car after softball practice concluded at 8:30 and I turned on the radio broadcast and drove home, would the game still be close? Would the game still be worth my time? Would I break out the notebook to start taking notes? When I got done with practice and I opened up my phone and I was walking towards the car last night, it was a 10-point Memphis lead at the end of the first quarter, and we were kind of teetering on not needing to break out the notebook. And truthfully, I never did break out the notebook and chart the game the way that I normally do or make notes the way that I normally do. So I don't have the specific time and quarter in which this occurred. But if you watch the game last night, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a shot that Booker had, I'm pretty sure it was in the second half, where he took a three. The shot was halfway through the hoop and somehow came back out. They should have been awarded 1.5 points. That's how far down the basket it actually was before it popped out. That was the kind of night the Suns were having last night. And when you're playing a team like Memphis, that's the second best team in the Western Conference, and you have a night like that, they're talented. They're a good basketball team. They play tough defense. How many times last night watching that game did you see the Suns try to get out in transition, try to speed up tempo, and it was a bad pass? It was a turnover. It was guys not looking up for the basketball. In transition, the Suns were not very good last night, in large part because Memphis, they're just, and I mean this with the utmost respect, they're just pests. They just annoy you for 4 quarters. It's what makes them so good. They're clogging up passing lanes in transition. They've got bodies all over the place, arms just constantly trying to deflect the basketball. They make it really difficult for you to get out in transition. And the Suns never really made the adjustment. They kept playing right into that. You combine that, they had 12 turnovers last night, plus the shooting woes. You're not going to win a lot of basketball games no matter who you play. You're not going to compile victories or stats when you play to a 27.3 shooting percentage from behind the three-point line. And you're certainly not going to win. And maybe we'll flesh this out a little bit more over the course of the next 2 hours, but we got a lot to get to. Devin Booker played nearly 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. He took 1 shot. He scored 2 points in 8 minutes. I'm sorry, but Devin Booker has to do more in the fourth quarter. I can't look at the fourth quarter by Tyus Jones and other players taking more shots than Devin Booker. I'm sorry. You're on this team to be a superstar. You're on this team for those moments, and you take 1 shot, you score 2 points in your 8 minutes of work. You have to do more than that. Because that game was there for the taking. We could very easily, despite how bad they shot from behind the three-point line, how bad they were in transition, how bad they were defensively. They were bad across the board. They were in that game. They only lost by 7. They had it down to a 4-point lead at one point in the fourth quarter, and you could feel the momentum shift in that building. They hit a shot, they got a defensive stop, and then they hit a shot at the other end of the floor, and it got it to 4 points, and you could just feel it. You could feel that this game was in the balance, and Memphis never really truly put it away and allowed the Suns to creep back into it, but they just couldn't make shots. That is the story. And I think it's a good thing they are right back at it tonight when they take on Houston against the Rockets on the road tonight. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to hop into the show here today. Over the course of the next 2 hours, you can also hop into the show, as always, in the YouTube live stream chat. Just go over to KDUS AM 1060 on YouTube if you want to get the digital version, the video version of the show over there, and you can hop into the community and chat away over there. But coming up on the other side of the break, it's official. Today is the day. Pitchers and catchers officially report. So I have one big 30,000-foot view question. Are the Diamondbacks a better team than they were last year? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Check out KDUS AM 1060 on 100.7 KSLX HD2. That's right, HD radio on 100.7 channel number 2.
Deftones. North American Tour 2025. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, March 9th. With special guests, the Mars Volta and Fleshwater. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by the Big Red Radio.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today to get your same-day cash offer.
Getting your windshield repair replaced and getting a guaranteed minimum of at least $100 all the way up to $375 cash back in your pocket. Time for you to check out New Vision Auto Glass. See clearly, drive safely. See what I did there? Give them a call at 480-210-9090 or go to newvisionautoglass.com to see what kind of incentives and cash back you qualify for. Look, the valley heat, potholes, flying rocks, it's only a matter of time until your windshield gets cracked or chipped. So why not get the experts to come to you? Repair or replace your windshield, give you instant cash back of up to $375 and give you dinner from Radisho Grill. Wait, hold up. 30 seconds, $375, new windshield, dinner. You know what? I was wrong. It's not a win-win situation. It's a win-win-win-win. And it all starts with calling 480-210-9090 or going to newvisionautoglass.com, taking 30 seconds to fill out a form to get cash in your pocket, repair, replace your windshield, dinner at Rodizio Grill, and peace of mind. To me, the choice is clear. New Vision Auto Glass, proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Jim Rome of the Rome Report, The Lake Show, and Luka Doncic's debut as a Laker. Look, I'm not here to throw a wet blanket over the proceedings or to dark cloud anybody, but pretty much what you'd expect. They dropped the new Chais into the perfect spot, given he hadn't played since Christmas, was clearly going to have some rust to knock off, and every single eyeball in the world on him last night. So what better time to break him out than at, and it went exactly how you'd expect. The Lakers smacked the Jazz, and Luka did have some rust to knock off, and he looked like a guy who hadn't played in weeks. Smacking the JV from Salt Lake does not mean anything at all. And basketball is still a game of matchups. And as well as the Lakers are playing right now, they still don't match up with the very best in the West. That said, they are once again interesting and buzzy, and the juice was back in the crypt. Now start beating teams that matter on the regular, and then we'll talk. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly.
Shop Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum batteries at O'Reilly Auto Parts and get up to a $15 gift card after rebate. O-Reward members can also get a $5 reward with their battery purchase. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
HD Radio is here for KDUS AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
potentially one of my 5 favorite sporting days of the year. Pitchers and catchers officially reporting today for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Their first spring training game just 9 days away or so. I believe their first spring training game will take place on the 21st of this month, if I am not mistaken. And so you're seeing all the videos of workouts and media, and the smell of baseball is in the air now that football is in the rearview mirror. And I don't pull any punches. Baseball is my favorite sport. I am very much looking forward to dissecting a 162 game baseball season for the Arizona Diamondbacks here on this show on a regular basis. Feels like my bread and butter. It's the sport that I love the most, the sport I've covered the most in-depthly. So I'm just ready. I am chomping at the bit for this season to get underway. I am excited for what this season could be for the Arizona Diamondbacks, despite the disappointing end and the disappointing nature to last year's season. Let's pull no punches, no bones about it. A team coming off of a World Series appearance before, missing the playoffs entirely. Wasn't what we all thought it could be, but still won 89 games, still looked the part, finished tied for the last wild card spot, got left out on a technicality, on a tiebreaker. And now we can flip the page and focus on 2025. And so I think the 30,000-foot view question going into spring training and going into this season is, are the Diamondbacks a better baseball team than they were last year? Put to the side for a second the way you feel about the Dodgers, the way you feel about the rest of the National League West. I want you to take those feelings and I want you to put them to the side. I don't want to hear about how much better the Dodgers are. I don't want to hear about how the Dodgers are ruining baseball. I don't want to hear about how the Padres made the playoffs last year or what the Giants did this offseason. I don't want to focus on any of that right now. The question that I want to try to answer right here and right now, do we feel like the Arizona Diamondbacks are a better baseball team than they were last year? In order to do this, let's go piece by piece. Do the Diamondbacks have a better rotation than they did last year? They signed the number one free agent pitcher this offseason in Corbin Burnes to add to a rotation that is going to have a healthy Zach Allen at the start, that has a healthy Merrill Kelly, that's going to have a healthy Eduardo Rodriguez, another year of Brendan Pfaadt playing at the big league level, has that experience. They have Ryan Nelson. They have Jordan Montgomery as depth. You saw how that rotation performed last year. You saw how those guys were in and out of the rotation. You saw how, take out Corbin Burnes because he wasn't on this team last year, only one member of the Diamondbacks rotation made 30 starts last year. It was Brendan Pfaadt. So you have a healthier rotation as of this moment, and you added Corbin Burnes in the offseason. You have lengthened your rotation. You added a Cy Young candidate to the front end of it. You have a better, healthier rotation than you did last year. Jordan Montgomery is in a better place. He was unsigned. I'm pretty sure, we can check this, I'm pretty sure he was unsigned at this time last year. Your rotation is in a much better spot. The bullpen. Is the bullpen better than it was last year? I would argue it is. You're going to get a full year of your trade deadline day acquisition in AJ Puck, who came over and was excellent in that late inning, high leverage role that the Diamondbacks asked of him. He was closing some nights. He was in the 7th inning, 8th inning, you name it. He took the ball and got key outs for this team. And you are going to see growth from Justin Martinez, a young, who I believe is the future closer of this team. I have no qualms about making him the closer right now with that electric stuff. And so I think with a full year of AJ Puck, with Martinez, with Ginkel, your bullpen is in a healthier spot. I like what you have in the back end of the bullpen, 8th and 9th inning wise, interchangeably than going into last year. And as much as you may not agree with the following statement, I think the Diamondbacks lineup in 2025 is better suited for their short and long-term goals. They got younger at key positions. I am not ignoring the loss of Christian Walker and Jock Peterson. A lot of the power of your lineup came from those two guys. That is your starting first baseman and your starting DH off this team. But you know what? You got younger this offseason. You created a new core that's on the younger side. You didn't pay Christian Walker what he got paid by Houston. You went out and traded for Josh Naylor, who is a younger version of Christian Walker, has similar power to Christian Walker. I think is going to be a source of energy and charisma and identity for this team. I think with the way we all want this team to play, the way we have seen them find success. How did this team get to the World Series? What's the phrase? Chaos on the base paths? Josh Naylor fits chaos on the base path. He fits that energy that this team is looking for. And you have now paved the way, no pun intended, although maybe it's intended. You have paved the way for Pavin Smith to get regular ABs after the way he performed in the second half of last year. So 2 major losses, but I think the replacements are the perfect replacements for this team, and the lineup has gotten younger and has gotten better suited for the short and long term. This is why I am so high on what this team is able to do this year. You watched this team last year win 89 games, be in the playoff race to the last day, the bonus day. They were still alive in the National League playoff race. They did so with a bullpen that had to demote their closer midway through the year, that had a rotation that had one guy make over 30 starts, moving guys in and out. Eduardo Rodriguez not available till the summertime. Merrill Kelly missed the first half of the season. Jordan Montgomery didn't start with the team in spring training. Zach Gallen missed time. Didn't have a Corbin Burns. Corbin Carroll had an uncharacteristic first half for his standards. All of that. Team won 89 games, and on paper, they have a better roster than they did a year ago. So I don't care what's going on in Southern California. I don't care what's going on in the Bay Area. I don't care what's going on in San Diego. What I care about is, as pitchers and catchers are reporting today, as the Diamondbacks are 9 days away from playing their first spring training game, and before you know it, all the pomp and circumstance of opening day will be here. These games will matter, and we will be debating lineup choices. We will be debating bullpen decisions. We will be debating it all here every day on a regular basis. As we sit here today, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a better team than they were a year ago. What the Dodgers are doing. I don't care what the Padres and Giants are doing. What I care about is, they added the big fish at starting pitcher. They added a frontline ace to this rotation. They are healthy. They are ready to. I'm ready to go. Can't you tell I'm excited that so we can fast forward through the spring training games. We can just get to the more important stuff. We can get to opening day. I understand what it's going to take in the meantime, but I'm excited. I'm ready to go because I think this team, 90-plus wins certainly on the table for this team, considering everything that went wrong for them last year and how I think this roster is in a much better place going into 2025. Coming up on the other side of the break, it was another major milestone lost in the shuffle of another Suns loss. That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Need social information about KDUS AM 1060? Try KDUS1060.com, at KDUS AM 1060 on Twitter, and Facebook.com/KDUS AM 1060.
A family called us recently after being told they had no case.
But we found evidence many others had missed and helped them win the largest car crash verdict in Arizona that year. Hiring the wrong lawyer can cost you everything.
Call the husband and wife law team first.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona.
Lincoln Park. From Zero World Tour 2025.
You ready?
Yes, you cut me open just to watch me. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, September 6th, with special guest Gene Dawson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit lincolnpark.com.
A family called us recently after being told they had no case.
But we found evidence many others had missed and helped them win the largest car crash verdict in Arizona that year. Hiring the wrong lawyer can cost you everything.
Call the husband and wife law team first.
Springtime savings are going on now at Mark Kia at the Scottsdale Auto Show just off the 101 in Indian School.
If you've been waiting for interest rates to drop, wait no more. Right now, receive 0% APR for 72 months on the brand new 2025 Kia EV9. That's right, 0% for 72 full months.
Or you can receive up to $10,000 bonus cash. The name to remember, Mark Kia, Mark Kia. APR offer only for Kia Motors Finance. Not all buyers will qualify. Offer expires March 3rd, 2025.
On Wednesday, February 19th, Phoenix, Arizona is where the best wrestle as All Elite Wrestling presents Dynamite and Collision.
AEW makes pro wrestling more fun.
2 shows all in one night as the most exciting professional wrestling experience in the world returns to Phoenix for the first time in over a year. AEW Dynamite and Collision from Arizona Financial Theater in Phoenix. Wednesday, February 19th. Tickets on sale now starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Every day, reliable, comfortable, connected. Every day you rely on power. At APS, we work around the clock to deliver some of the most reliable power in the country. But with Arizona's extreme weather, outages can happen. Stay safe and informed with alerts by keeping your contact information up to date. And visit our outage center for updates online or on the APS app. For more ways to stay safe and informed, visit aps.com/brighter.
In the third quarter last night, Kevin Durant joined a very exclusive list. He became the 8th player in NBA history to score 30,000 points. The group that he joined includes LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, and Wilt Chamberlain. That is a list of the greats of this sport. That is a who's who. You want to tell the story of the NBA? There's your group. That's who needs to be sitting around the dinner table telling stories of the NBA. Those guys right there. And last night, Kevin Durant with a free throw in the third quarter joined that list. But just like when Devin Booker became the franchise leading scorer, this moment happened in a Suns loss. Devin Booker against Portland became the team's all-time leading scorer. Happened on the road, happened in a loss. We talked about it, but it kind of got lost in the shuffle because the conversation was you just lost to Portland. You beat Golden State, and then you lost to Portland. And last night, Kevin Durant becomes only the 8th person to join this very exclusive club. And here we are leading the show talking about a loss. The difference between the two is at least this one happened at home so they could take the time during the game, stop, have the big ovation. So it was at least a little more memorable than Devin Booker becoming the franchise leader in points scored. but that is 2 times this year that the Phoenix Suns have had a major milestone happen. And it is a footnote. It is not the lead story. And maybe it should be. But I'm sorry, I think the result of last night's game matters just a little bit more than Kevin Durant reaching 30,000 points. But Kevin Durant joining that elusive group last night, becoming the 8th person to join that group, it also reminded me of something very important. We have taken Kevin Durant's presence here on the Phoenix Suns for granted. I don't know if we recognize that one of the all-time greats of this game is currently playing for the Phoenix Suns, and at least as of a couple of weeks ago, we'll see how the rest of the season chooses to play out, wanted to finish his career with the Phoenix Suns. All the talk at the beginning of the year was that Kevin Durant, at the end of this year, wanted to sign an extension onto his current deal and end his career with the Phoenix Suns. That's where we started this year. That guy, one of only 8 players in NBA history to score 30,000 points, one of the all-time greats, wanted to finish his career here in Phoenix, wanted to give the rest of his career to the Phoenix Suns. We've taken that for granted. I think we've forgotten how special Kevin Durant is. Now, please, do not take that as a personal attack. I don't think you are taking Kevin Durant for granted. I'm certainly not taking Kevin Durant's special ability for granted. It's not because of the way we've acted. It's because of the team's performance. Because instead of constantly marveling at the greatness that is Kevin Durant and constantly talking about Kevin Durant leading this team to holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy for the first time and getting this franchise a championship. Instead of that, instead of talking about the greatness that is Kevin Durant, we're talking about a team that is below 500. We're talking about a team that is out of the playoff picture. That since Kevin Durant has gotten here, has had 1 playoff win, series win, I should say, and last year got swept out of the playoffs. The team's performance, the lack thereof, has forced us to forget the greatness that we are supposed to be watching. Kevin Durant is an all-time great. We should be enjoying watching an all-time great even at 36 years old, even at 37 years old, even if he ended his career here and wasn't the same guy that he was in Oklahoma City, in Golden State, in Brooklyn, the start of his tenure here in Phoenix, even if the skills deteriorate or the consistency deteriorates and he's not the same player. This is an all-time great that we are supposed to be enjoying, and we can't. And last night, it certainly wasn't his fault. He led the way. Needed 26 going into the night. He finished with, 34 in the game last night? It certainly wasn't his fault that they lost to Memphis. It's certainly not all his fault that they're 26-27. But instead of talking about his greatness, we're talking about, or at least we were, trade rumors, what the summer is going to hold, and overall, the disappointment that has been Kevin Durant's tenure here in Phoenix. 2 years ago, when they traded for Kevin Durant, is this what everybody envisioned it was going to look like? Is this what we thought the conversations would be like for 2 consecutive years? It has been a constant question of, can this team do more? Can this team reach their potential? And so last night, Kevin Durant getting to 30,000 points, being a footnote in a loss, is truthfully the Phoenix Suns experience in 2025. the opposite result last night. The Suns winning when Kevin Durant reaches 30,000 points. Would have been an outlier. It would have been counter to everything that we have seen from this team. Just like Devin Booker becoming the all-time franchise scorer, just like when Booker dropped 70, just like all those moments that are associated with losses, this one gets added to the list. And an era of basketball that was supposed to be about crossing the ultimate bridge, crossing the final bridge for the Phoenix Suns. Last night, I'm watching Kevin Durant get to 30,000 points, and I look at the score bug, and I see a Phoenix Suns team that is currently losing the basketball game, and I just threw my hands up, and I said to myself, this is just quintessential Suns basketball right now. That this moment is happening while the Suns are trying to claw back from being down 13 points in the second half, 12 points at halftime, whatever it was. This can't be a celebratory moment because they're trying to win a basketball game and they're not doing that great of a job. The greatness of Kevin Durant may be wasted here because we all know what the summer is trending towards being for this team. We both know, you and I, that as of right now, it would be more likely than not that Kevin Durant gets traded. It's more likely than not, as we sit here right now, that Kevin Durant is not going to be a member of the 25-26 Phoenix Suns. That this 29 games and whatever the postseason looks like is going to be the final run for Kevin Durant here in Phoenix. And if it goes down the path that it's all going down, it would be greatness taken for granted. Why is a team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on it and Bradley Beal, coached by a championship-winning coach, why is that team one game below 500? Why is that team out of the playoffs right now? Why did that team get swept in the first round last year? This team's performance has made us not be able to enjoy Kevin Durant's greatness. He had a great performance last night. He got to 30,000 points, only the 8th player ever to do it. And yet all I can think about today is how they lost and they're on the outside looking in of the playoff race. And maybe I should be able to find a little more nuance in life to be able to celebrate that while also talking about the loss. But it's just another example of this team having a great moment, but it being a footnote in a loss. And so it's hard to ignore that. It's hard to ignore that these things in Suns lore have happened while they were losing or while they were underperforming. And this team has underperformed over and over and over again in this era. And so when we look back at the Kevin Durant era in Phoenix, are we going to remember that this is the place where he got to 30,000 points? Or are we going to remember all of the miscues, all of the missed opportunities, the failures, the not even sniffing the Western Conference Finals, getting nowhere close to the NBA Finals? Is that how we're going to remember this era? So when I say that we have taken Kevin Durant for granted, the point I am making is, for whatever reason, this team with Kevin Durant, one of the all-time greats, has been unable to hold up their end of the bargain. They have been unable to break through with the talent that they have. And so it is going to be looked back as a disappointment and nothing else. 480-864-1060 is the phone number if you want to hop in here today. We've got spring training underway. You've got pitchers and catchers reporting today. The Suns were in action last night. Kevin Durant gets to 30,000 points. Haven't even mentioned him yet. We will at some point. Bol Bol last night. I can't go the whole hour without mentioning Bol Bol being in the starting lineup and the performance that he had. Don't worry, everybody. We'll get to that as well. And oh, by the way, there's another basketball game tonight. Suns are right back in action tonight as all of the teams are in action tonight. I had a chance to sit down, look at some of the other teams' games tonight. I noticed everybody in action tonight. So all of that, whatever you want to talk about on the phone lines, 480-864-1060. If you want to hop into the program, you can also do so on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. But coming up on the other side of the break, we will wrap up our number one of the program. Are the Arizona Cardinals closer to playoff relevancy, or are they closer to a rebuild? Why would I even ask a question like that? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
With the Dan Patrick Show brightens your mood to work. The DP Show airs live weekdays from 7 to 10 right here on KDUS AM 1060, 100.7 HD2, and KDUS1060.com.
Rock legend Billy Idol. Live in Phoenix. Billy Idol. It's a nice day to tour again. With very special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, April 30th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
At the Phoenix Zoo, we are the home of and which also makes us the home of Phoenix Zoo. That zoo we are. For tickets, hours, and much more, visit phoenixzoo.org.
Play Monopoly Scratchers from the Arizona Lottery and bring the game to life. Pass go and collect up to $500,000. Follow the signs and take a chance to win real money and multiply your prize up to 100 times. Imagine your next big adventure with Monopoly Multiplier Scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro.
I'm John Morgan. When people stop me to ask, what's my case worth? Here's what I tell them. All law firms are not the same at all. You see, the most important part of anyone's injury case is the firm you hire. The insurance company knows exactly which firms fight for full value and which firms will settle your case for pennies on the dollar. Our firm has recovered billions and billions and billions. $3 billion last year alone. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your caddy, Ray Adams, takes you beyond the 18th hole on Saturday mornings with Great American Golf from 6 to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Why would I ask a question about the Cardinals being closer to playoff contention or closer to a rebuild? I watched last year. You watched last year. You watched this team into the latter stages of the season be in first place in the NFC West, be 6-4 heading into their bye week. They were this close to hosting a home playoff game. Why would I even question a rebuild? Why would I even utter the words rebuild when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals? Jeremy Fowler over at ESPN.com looked at all 32 teams and put them in tiers. And I love when people put teams in buckets and tiers, and I'm able to see where the Cardinals sit in comparison to other teams and see what the national narrative is about a team. And so the story was about overhaul tiers. Who is contending and who is rebuilding in 2025? And so you had different tiers. You had still the major contenders. You had the on the cusp, the need a postseason breakthrough. And again, all through the vision of, are these teams still contending? Are they rebuilding? Are they trending towards a rebuild? Where are they? Well, the Arizona Cardinals were put in a bucket that was titled, their tier was called, "This Could Go Either Way." And when you frame it in that way, when you frame it as they could fall towards the side of being a contender if they make the right moves, but if they don't,
There are questions about Kyler Murray. And then if you are back in the quarterback market, if you have to play that circus, then you're closer to a rebuild. And so to say that this could go either way is basically saying it could be a coin toss. Do we feel like the future of the Arizona Cardinals is about a 50-50? Do we feel as it is a coin toss to what their future holds? Does it feel like it is that on the edge? Team went 6-4 last year before the bye week. In first place in the division. Controlled their own fate in the second half. Didn't perform all that well. And now we enter an offseason where they have the fewest draft picks that they have had since Monty Ossenfort has taken over. They have a plethora of cap space. They have around $60 or $70 million, give or take. That number might fall as the offseason, as we get closer to free agency beginning. And they don't have a lot of big money contracts. Kyler's under contract. He's not getting paid what Dak Prescott's getting paid or what Joe Burrow's getting paid or what any of these guys are getting paid, right? And then what Brock Purdy's about to get paid this offseason, not in that tier. You've got a pretty nice deal, at least comparatively to the rest of the league. So is it a coin toss? And I think when you look at it through the lens of, if this team doesn't make it this year, if this team doesn't break through this year, are we not having a quarterback conversation next offseason? Are we not debating the merits of moving on from Kyler Murray if another year passes? Picture it for just a second. It's February 12th, 2026. Producer Dylan, I need you to check to make sure that's a day of the week in which we are on the air, or else this whole thing comes crashing down. But until you correct me, I'll just assume that we would be on the air on February 12th, 2026. It's February 12th, 2026. We are talking about an Arizona Cardinals team that once again didn't play well in the second half of the year. We are once again talking about a team and a quarterback that in December and January, or in November and December, however you want to look at it, didn't come through in the big moments. Failed against teams in the division that you have to beat. Failed against teams that you're supposed to beat late in the season. And missed the playoffs once again. Picture it. It's not a hard picture to envision. It's kind of been Kyler Murray's career here in Phoenix. If we get another year down the road and there isn't a chance of redemption for what happened in the wild card round against the Rams, and this team isn't in the playoffs, aren't we having, it's different, but aren't we having the Kevin Durant conversation that the Suns are going to have this summer? Aren't we having that same conversation with Kyler Murray? This isn't working. Running it back would be foolish for what would be a seventh year at that point. This GM, this head coach didn't draft Kyler Murray. This GM, this head coach didn't give Kyler Murray the extension, but he was given all of the wiggle room to learn the offense, to try to thrive in the offense, to try to take this team to the playoffs, to try to make them relevant. If we are having this conversation again next summer or next February, then the Arizona Cardinals are closer to a rebuild than they are to playoff contention, because they will reset at the most important position on the field. They will have a glaring hole at the most important of the five pillars: quarterback, left tackle, wide receiver, corner, edge. The five pillars of building a winner in the NFL. And the Arizona Cardinals, if they miss the playoffs again next year, will probably have to reset at the most important pillar. And so through that lens, through that framework, doesn't it feel, and I know earlier in the week I said Monty Ossenfort has to be given the time to operate. I still believe in that. I believe that Monty needs to be given, and more general managers in the NFL need to be given, Howie Roseman type of a runway to see the team through different life cycles, to see a team through different iterations. I believe Monty deserves that opportunity. I believe Monty deserves the opportunity to draft and develop his own quarterback, if that's where we are next offseason. I believe Monty Ossenfort should be given the opportunity that if he wants to move on from Kyler Murray and trade for somebody else, he should be given the opportunity to see that through. And if that doesn't work, well, then you made the mistake of holding on to Kyler for too long. You made the mistake in your next chance to get the quarterback situation right. So you went 0 for 2. I'll give you 2 chances. I think more general managers and more organizations need to get more than one swing at the quarterback side of this. It's really hard to find a franchise quarterback. But it's not that far off for us to be having that conversation next February. So if that's the case, yeah, I'd agree that this could go either way. And that's what makes this offseason so important. Why do you think we're talking so much about T. Higgins? Why do you think we're talking so much about you can't have your top edge guy be the guy you draft at 16? You can't leave it up to chance of the way the draft board falls to you. Why is Josh Sweat's name coming up so much in conversation? Why are people saying Khalil Mack might be available? Myles Garrett requested a trade. Why is all of that coming up over and over and over again? Because most of us realize that if this team doesn't make the playoffs next year, there's going to be a new quarterback. I'm not ready to say there'll be a new coach or a new GM. I think those guys deserve one more swing at this. But if this team doesn't make the playoffs, there will be a new quarterback here next year. The 2026 season will have a new man under center for this team. And so this offseason is so important. It might be last chance saloon for Kyler Murray. It is put up or shut up time. Work needs to be done in the front office, but you got your left tackle. They drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got a running back in James Conner. You're going to add the pieces on defense that you need to add this offseason, but it is go time. And so I think we all got, and rightfully so, intoxicated by what we saw through the first 10 weeks of the season, where we had a team in first place that we were dreaming of hosting a playoff game, and we were dreaming of the redemption storyline for Kyler Murray. We were dreaming of it. This team back into the postseason, Kyler Murray leading the charge, and it would confirm everything. It would confirm why everybody loves Monty Ossenfort. It would confirm why everybody thinks Jonathan Gannon's the right guy for the job, and it would confirm that it was the right decision to stick with Kyler Murray. We are still waiting for the moment to have that confirmation. So it does feel a little bit like this is teetering on the edge. To use the tier description from Jeremy Fowler, it could go either way. Could I see a world where this team plays like they did last year, but actually follows through and makes the playoffs? Absolutely. I think the GM is going to be eager to make those additions in the offseason. I think the quarterback is going to be eager to show everybody that he is a franchise quarterback. It's another year of Marvin Harrison Jr. There's a lot of reason to think that that could be how next season goes. But there's also a lot of proof on the other side of the scale that says we could very easily be in this situation again this offseason, next offseason, February of 2026. A very important offseason, the most important offseason of Monty Ossenfort's tenure, the most important offseason since Jonathan Gannon got here. It is the most important season for Kyler Murray. So the question I asked at the beginning, closer to playoff contention or closer to a rebuild? Truthfully, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know which side of that coin this team is closer to, because it could go either way. I want to believe in the coach. I want to believe in the GM, and I do to a large extent. I want to believe in Kyler Murray, but over and over and over again, he's given me reason to waver in that belief. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. Coming up in hour number 2, I am not wasting any more time.
It is the Bol Bol segment you have all been waiting for. That is how we start hour number 2 of the program. That's next, the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring.
This ought to get pretty wild here.
Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. The best-in-class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action on and off the track, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains. NASCAR weekend at Phoenix Raceway, March 7th through the 9th. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
Traffic? Get your sip on. Detour to McDonald's for deliciously bold premium roast coffee. Or maybe it's time to sweeten up that mid-afternoon slump with an icy cold sweet tea. Sip up. Or get your favorite soft drink to perk up after a long day at work. Sip yourself to happiness. Right now, get any size premium roast coffee, sweet tea, or soft drink for only $1.29. When you sip a good drink from McDonald's, it's all good. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Picture this. A family trusts a lawyer after their father has been seriously injured. And then they're told there's no way to win his case and they'll have to take care of him with no support.
And that would have been the end of the story because they hired the wrong lawyer. Fortunately, they called us to the husband-wife law team. We were able to use our years of expertise to uncover evidence previously missed and guarantee they could change their father's life forever.
Do your research after a serious injury. Call the husband-wife law team first.
Springtime savings are going on now at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale. Right now, receive 2.9% APR for 72 months on the 2025 Mazda CX-70 and CX-90.
The name to remember, Mark Mazda. Mark Mazda on approved credit plus $998 doc fee.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Where are all of the Bol Bol stands? This is your moment. You stand up right now. You take the victory lap. You make sure everybody knows that you have been a Bol Bol supporter from the beginning. Because last night, Bol Bol got a start. Welcome back into the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Bol Bol last night got the start at power forward. But more importantly, he was the go-to guy down the stretch for this team. He was Coach Mike Budenholzer's go-to option at the 5 down the stretch. I don't know if we still do this anymore. But if we still put the pictures of people on milk cartons, put Mason Plumlee's picture on the milk carton. Where is Mason Plumlee? Gone. And I don't know if it's directly related. But there was a moment in the game last night where Mason Plumlee perhaps made one of the dumbest basketball plays I have ever seen. He at one point caught an offensive rebound and tried to throw it back to Kevin Durant and just threw the ball behind, had no idea who was behind him, just launched the ball backwards over his head, threw it into the third row. Kevin Durant looked at him like,
What are you doing? So Mason Plumlee did not play in the second half of that basketball game, finished with 7 minutes overall. It was the Bol Bol show last night. And the more important part of the Bol Bol show was the fourth quarter. He played 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. He finished the game with a double-double. He finished the game with 18 points and 14 rebounds. He also added 4 blocks. My big takeaway is not so much the stat line, the +4 that he was for the game, none of that. Or the +2 that he was for the game. He was +4 in the fourth quarter. The takeaway that I have is when this team, down the stretch, needed to score and needed to get stops, in the key moments when this was still a game in the fourth quarter, Mike Budenholzer turned to Bol Bol. He started the game, but more importantly, he finished the game. And he finished the game at the 5. He finished the game at the center position. So Coach Budenholzer last night said, I think that I need stops at the defensive end. I need points at the offensive end. Bol Bol is the guy that gives me the best chance at the center spot. Not Nick Richards, not Mason Plumlee. The guy that gives me the best chance at that position is Bol Bol. And he had a performance that would vouch for that. A double-double, 18 points, 14 boards. Took 10 three-pointers. Was 3 of 10 from three-point land. And the question that I had after the game last night, why wouldn't we keep it rolling? Why wouldn't Bol Bol be out there tonight? Why wouldn't Bol Bol get more minutes than Mason Plumlee again tonight? What is the risk you run by running Bol Bol out there again? What's the risk you run of making the center position Nick Richards and Bol Bol and Mason Plumlee picture on a milk carton? Not doing a whole lot. What's the harm? You're going to talk to me about defensive efficiency? You're going to talk to me about him being a young player? You know where the Phoenix Suns are in the standings, right? You know how well things have been working through the first 53 games, right? You are at a point in the season where nothing should be off the table. What's the risk that you run by giving Bol Bol an extended run, giving him more minutes, making him the number 2 center, or starting him sometimes at the power forward to give you some more size? What's the harm in that? What's the risk you run by doing that? Are you going to be worse than 26 and 27? Are you going to be worse than a team that isn't in the playoffs right now? 1 game back? I'm watching the scoreboard to see who the teams in front of the Suns are playing to see if there's a chance that they can make up ground. And you're now going to tell me that we can't find minutes for Bol Bol? Nonsense. He also provides something different from Mason Plumlee and Nick Richards. Those 2 guys don't space the floor the way Bol Bol does. Those 2 guys are not threats from behind the three-point line. They don't provide that skill set. That skill set's kind of nice for a Coach Budenholzer team that likes to shoot the 3. Is Bol Bol going to save the season for the Phoenix Suns? No. Bol Bol's not going to save the season for the Phoenix Suns. Is Bol Bol going to have another double-double where he goes for 18 and 14? I don't know how often he's going to be putting up box scores like that. But Bol Bol had an opportunity last night in the 30 minutes that he played, and he took full advantage of those 30 minutes. And if this is going to be a meritocracy, if this is going to be you perform well, you get time, then Bol Bol should get more minutes than Mason Plumlee. Bol Bol might get some more key minutes than Nick Richards because his performance warrants it. I can't see a single risk by continuing to find Bol Bol time. Does he have to play 30 minutes every night? He played more than Nick Richards. Nick Richards played 16 minutes last night. Mason Plumlee played 7 minutes last night. Does it always have to skew that direction? No, I don't think so. But it can If you want to have a lineup with more size and have Bol Bol and Nick Richards out there together, I think you should do that. If you want Bol Bol to be your go-to center down the stretch because you're trying to get yourself back into the game and you need some three-point shooting and he helps space the floor for your guys, do it. There's no harm. You are a game below 500. You're not the Oklahoma City Thunder. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're not the Memphis Grizzlies. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're not the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Sports Radio isn't talking about a guy off the bench that should get more minutes. It's working. They're very happy with the way that it's working. We're not happy with the way it's working here in Phoenix. So if you have a guy that can give you that type of performance, can play that well, yeah, he should be out there. That change should be made permanent. Mason Plumlee might need to be moved to the number 3 center on this team. Or if you're going to have Bol Bol play more of the 4, then you can play 2 centers and get Bol Bol some more time. But I thought, other than Kevin Durant hitting 30,000 points last night, the other bright spot of that game was the way Bol Bol played. Blocks at the defensive end, 13 defensive rebounds, hit a couple of threes, and hit a 3 in the fourth quarter in a key spot. The Suns were making their comeback. The Suns were closing the distance on the Grizzlies, and Bol Bol not afraid to take a shot. The 25-year-old not scared of the moment. So this is the chance for all of you Bol Bol fans to take the victory lap. For those of you who have been clamoring for more Bol Bol, you got your wish last night and you were extremely vindicated. I don't know what took so long. I don't know why it's 53 games into the season and we might start to experiment with this. Maybe he should have done this a little bit earlier. But I ask again, somebody needs to tell me what the risk is for continuing this. You're going to tell me that they might not be as good defensively? Have you watched the Suns play basketball this year? Not the epitome of defense. Is there anybody on the team that is known for their defense? Bol Bol's not going to save the Suns season, but he provides them something different. He provides them a different skill set from their 4, from their normal guys at the center spot in Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee. And after a performance like last night, how do you not keep with the hot hand? How, when the starting lineups come out tonight, are we not talking about Bol Bol being back in there? One other thing I want to discuss, and perhaps he's just still hurt. I know he kind of rolled the ankle again last night. But Ryan Dunn only playing 5 minutes. Credit to Budenholzer for playing Bol Bol, starting Bol Bol, trying something different, and Bol Bol playing well, and hopefully that experiment continues. Ryan Dunn only playing 5 minutes. I just want to keep an eye on it. I'm not willing to immediately start criticizing because the ankle's been bothering Ryan Dunn for a little bit now. He kind of was hobbled again last night, and so maybe it's just a precautionary thing. I don't know. I'll check the injury reports real quick. I don't remember seeing anything about Ryan Dunn for tonight's game. But that could change at a moment's notice. But something to file away, because if that does continue and Ryan Dunn's not out, he's active and he's playing, you got to find me. You got to find me more than 5 minutes for Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn can help this team more than just 5 minutes. He's your 3-and-D guy. He's supposed to add it. We can do better. We can find a better rotation. But it was Bol Bol's time last night. He delivered. Again, the stat line, put it to the side. I thought it was extremely telling that Budenholzer went to him in those key moments when they were trying to make the comeback, knowing that they needed to make stops on the defensive end, knowing that they were fighting an uphill battle on the offensive end, and he went with Bol Bol in the latter part of the fourth quarter, and Bol Bol hit some shots and had 4 blocks and was just awesome. 480-864-1060 is the phone number if you want to hop in. If you are a Bol Bol stan, your moment. This is your day. This is your time to shine here today on the program. But coming up on the other side of the break,
Is the most important player in the Diamondbacks lineup also the youngest player? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
The absolute best interviews and guests. Tune into the Dan Patrick Show live weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Pierce the Veil. I Can't Hear You World Tour 2025. Pierce the Veil, live in concert in Phoenix. With Sleeping with Sirens and Beach Weather. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, June 15th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Great. Thanks, William. Good meeting.
What about me?
Who said that?
Me.
Gary, I can hear you, but...
Where are you? Guys, I'm right here. You can't see me because I'm being transparent.
You're being transparent?
Yep, and we should do it company-wide, starting with how much it costs to get a Grizzly from Alaskan AC.
This is freaking me out.
Other places don't put payments on their websites. Know why?
Too much trouble?
Embarrassed?
They want to get in your house and twist your arm?
Could be any of those. Could be none of them. But like polar bear fur, we're transparent.
So people can go to AlaskanAC.com and get an instant payment?
You got it. Now you're being transparent.
Hey, I'm fading away.
I like it. Nothing hidden. Just an honest instant payment on their new Grizzly from AlaskanAC.com. Oh, now I'm becoming transparent.
Doesn't it feel good?
We're all transparent.
And good thing, that shirt Ron was wearing was ugly.
I'm still here. Get a transparent payment on a new Grizzly at AlaskanAC.com.
With Cox Mobile, you're covered coast to coast, so you can call your friends anytime on that road trip from New York City to LA, even in Franklin, Illinois.
Huh, what if I call from Franklin, Georgia?
Yep, covered.
Ooh, Franklin, Texas?
Uh-huh.
Franklin, Kansas, Missouri, Virginia, Nebraska?
Yeah, all covered. Cox Mobile runs on the network with more nationwide coverage than T-Mobile and has call quality you can rely on. Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox Internet required. Comparison based on percentage of area covered by T-Mobile as compared to Cox Mobile from FCC National Broadband Map of US as of 12/31/23. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Kellen Moore's decision to leave the Eagles and take over as head coach of the Saints is the last of the head coaching hires. Moore's offensive acumen is unquestioned. He was behind two top-ranked offenses with the Cowboys in 2019 and 2021, and later helped the Chargers reach new heights, at least before Justin Herbert's health issues hampered the team's momentum. But what makes Moore especially intriguing as a head coach is adaptability. He took the reins in Philadelphia this season, and he faced a different challenge. His offensive philosophy, the emphasis on the pass, but the Eagles weren't built that way. Instead of forcing his system onto the players, Moore adapted to his players, crafting a top 10 scoring offense and helping the Eagles finish second in rushing. Now, he did have great players around him, an offensive line that might be the best in football, Pro Bowl caliber pass catchers, best running back in football. But if Moore brings that same philosophy to the Saints, they may have finally something to look forward to in the Big Easy. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's inevitable. Rain, snow, ice coming our way, making driving a challenge. Thankfully, the experts at Tire Rack know a thing or two about conquering winter's worst. New tires elevate traction and braking, and they will keep you safe. Tire Rack sells only the best, like the full lineup of General tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan. Build a tire and wheel package for DIY installation. Ship fast and free and backed by 2 years of free road hazard protection. That's TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Hey, are you a whiskey lover? If so, you have to try the new Keeper's Heart whiskey. Keeper's Heart is one of the first to blend Irish and American whiskey. And it's really good. So good, in fact. Keeper's Heart has been recognized as one of the world's best whiskeys for the way it brings together the boldness of American whiskey with the smoothness of Irish whiskey. It's the perfect matchup. Keeper's Heart is a legend in the making. Trust us, you gotta try it. Drink responsibly.
James Out West brings NFL, NBA, MLB, and local sports talk to you Monday night starting at 7 on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS 1060 app.
Pitchers and catchers reporting today for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, pitchers and catchers just report all the time. They report early. We don't make as big of a deal of it as we have in recent memory because most guys
normally show up early, normally are there ahead of time, but it's the start of the baseball season. Everybody's thinking about spring training games, and those start in about 9 days for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And in getting ready for today's show and in getting ready for the baseball season, I'm always digging for storylines or things to keep an eye on. And we've already told you this week about the bullpen situation, who's going to be the closer, and that's something to keep an eye on. We talked about how the Diamondbacks are a better baseball team, at least in my opinion, than they were a year ago. But I do think there is a conversation that needs to be had about one player in particular on this team. And that player just so happens to be the youngest player in the team's lineup. And he also happens to be the most important player for this team. Because there is nobody that would argue the importance of Corbin Carroll to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Corbin Carroll right now, according to Fangraphs and their projected opening day roster, 24 and a half years of age for Corbin Carroll. He is the youngest member of the Diamondbacks starting lineup. Younger than Gabby Moreno, younger than Geraldo Perdomo, younger than Josh Naylor, younger than Jake McCarthy, all those guys under the age of 30, younger than Pavin Smith, who's under 30 as well. He is the youngest member of the Diamondbacks lineup. Let's remember that when we try to add the right context to last year. Last year was a bad year for Corbin Carroll. His first half struggles, a large part for why the team struggled. This team thrives on chaos on the base paths. They thrive with Corbin Carroll's ability to hit doubles, to get on base, to turn singles into triples, to turn doubles into triples, to put teams in uncomfortable spots. The stolen base was a lost art for a really long time. It's slowly coming back, and Corbin Carroll is at the forefront of that. But you can't be agents of chaos. You can't have craziness on the base paths unless you have guys on the base paths. And so Corbin Carroll, they tried almost to a fault to get him going, leaving him in the leadoff spot. Series after series, game after game, trying over and over again to just see if he could work through the swing problems, to see if he could just find it and be that guy that we all knew he could be, that we've seen him be, that he was in 2023 when he hit 285. He had an on-base percentage of 362. He hit 25 home runs, stole 54 bases. That's the guy we wanted to see. That we wanted to see Rookie of the Year Corbin Carroll. And in his second full year in the big leagues last year, he struggled. He still ended with 22 home runs. He only fell 2 RBIs shy of his career mark in 2023. But he only hit 231. He only stole 35 bases. He got it going in the second half. But a large part of why the Diamondbacks struggled early, didn't have a whole lot of healthy starting pitching, but weren't able to fall into their offensive identity. Corbin Carroll struggled to start the year. Eugenio Suarez struggled to start the year. I mean, remember, there were real conversations being had about DFAing Eugenio Suarez and sending Corbin Carroll back to the minor leagues. Those were conversations we were having about a team that ended up winning 89 games and barely missing out on the playoffs. 2 mainstays of their lineup last year, and 2 guys that are mainstays for their projected lineup this year. One, we were discussing, does he need to go back to the minor leagues? And the other, we were saying it might be time to DFA him and get him off this roster. This team is going to go as far as Corbin Carroll takes them. They are built with pitching. They are built with run prevention. They are built on the backs of Corbin Burns, of Zach Gallen, of Merrill Kelly. That is where this team is going to succeed the most. But if they are going to be good offensively, remember, they were one of the best offenses in the league last year. Despite all the problems I just outlined for you, they were still really good. They turned it on in the second half. But that offense is only going to go as Corbin Carroll goes. Their identity as an offense is Corbin Carroll. The way that he plays. His skill set, stealing bases, hitting doubles, having 20 home run power, stealing 50 bases, being able to draw walks, having pop, playing good defense. That is what Diamondbacks are in a nutshell. And Corbin Carroll, the guy that they signed to a long-term contract well before he was Rookie of the Year, well before he became the leadoff leader of this team, well before all of that, we all knew that Corbin Carroll was the future of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Well, the future is now. Their identity is Corbin Carroll. But you know what? That's what makes me so confident about this team this year. You're going to bet against a 24-year-old. You're going to bet against a guy who's entering only his third big league season. He had a down year last year, still stole 35 bases, drove in nearly 75 runs, and hit over 20 home runs. That's a down year for Corbin Carroll. If that's the worst that we see of Corbin Carroll, we're going to be just fine here in Phoenix. We're going to be just fine. Sophomore slump, opposing pitchers figuring out a hole in Corbin Carroll's swing. It's really hard to make adjustments at the big league level when you're young. It's really hard. If other big league clubs find out a weakness for you, they're going to exploit it and exploit it and exploit it. And the noise just grows and grows and grows. And you're getting asked about it every day. Slumps are so easy to come by at the big league level when you're young and teams find weaknesses on you. It's all about the counter adjustment. And I fully expect with what we saw in the second half and the way Corbin Carroll conducts himself, and I bet you start hearing about the work he did this offseason, you are going to see more of the 2023 Corbin Carroll than you are the 2024 Corbin Carroll. And if that's the case, if that guy is setting the table for Ketel Marte, if that guy is setting the table for Josh Naylor and Lourdes Gurriel and setting the table for this lineup, then what was one of the best run-producing offenses in Major League Baseball last year is going to still be near the top of that list because they have a guy who is an agent of chaos. They have a guy who can create runs, can manufacture runs, can turn a single into a triple where now a sac fly brings in a run. And every extra run that Corbin Carroll is able to steal over the course of the season is going to lead to more wins for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Notice how we've talked about this team twice today, and I haven't talked about Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Yamamoto and Sasaki and Glasnow and Snell. Notice how I'm staying laser focused on the team at hand because this team's pretty good. This team's really good. This team has a good manager. This team has a good young core of players. Corbin Carroll, not even 25. Gabby Moreno, 25. Geraldo Perdomo, 25. Jake McCarthy, 27. Josh Naylor, 27. Pavin Smith, 29. They got Alec Thomas on the bench. He's not even 25. Blaze Alexander, not even 26. And don't look down, but Jordan Lawler is just lurking. It was a different kind of offseason than we expected from this team, but it was one that set them up short and long term. And the most important guy in all of that is Corbin Carroll. So the future for this team is bright, but so is the present, because I expect Corbin Carroll to be more like the 2023 version. The projections also say that he's going to be more like the 2023 version. So as he goes, the Diamondbacks are going to go. If he struggles, this team is going to struggle. If he is thriving, this team is going to thrive. And this team is going to be one of the best offenses in the league if he is thriving the way he did in 2023. He's already shown it at the big league level. He showed it in his rookie campaign. He showed it in spurts in the second half last year. Now it's about making those adjustments and having a really awesome third year in the big league level. I'm ready to go, man. I think this team's going to surprise some people. I've been telling buddies that I think two things can be true. That I think the Diamondbacks are going to make it really difficult for the Dodgers, and that the Dodgers can still break the Mariners record and win 117 regular season games. I truly think both things can be true. That's how I view this season right now. The Diamondbacks, I think, are the ultimate thorn in the Dodgers side for so many reasons. They've owned them during the regular season recently. I think they're a better team than they were a year ago. I think they match up in all the right ways. I'm ready to go. For those of you who think the Dodgers are bad for baseball, get ready, because I think the Diamondbacks are bringing it this year. Coming up on the other side of the break, they are back in action tonight. And after what we saw last night, are we thinking that the Suns could steal one? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
The Dan Patrick Show improves your mornings. The DP Show airs from 7 to 10 a.m., adjusting to that time change.
Okay.
Get your radios locked to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona.
The spring sales event is going on now at Scottsdale Mitsubishi, just off the 101 in Indian School. Right now, you can receive 0% APR for up to 60 months on the 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander.
That's right, 0% APR for 60 full months. Or you can receive up to $4,500 bonus cash. Come see us at the Scottsdale Auto Show and let us be your official inflation-fighting dealership.
The name to remember, Scottsdale Mitsubishi. Scottsdale Mitsubishi, another Mark Auto Group dealership.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. To learn more, visit one of our 12 Phoenix Sleep Number stores or visit sleepnumber.com.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025, live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Bol. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Superstar Car Wash presents Random Acts of Super. Today, we're hooking you up with a free Super Protect car wash. Just text DESERT to 27800 and get our premium wash for free. Stay clean, superstars. Terms and conditions apply.
Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken figures. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce creamy rich. One love.
The NAIA, JUCO, small college, high school sports, and you. Listen to Vince and Friends with the Varsity Sports Show here on KDUS AM 1060, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
For the last time before the All-Star break, the Phoenix Suns will be in action tonight as they take on the Houston Rockets down in Houston. I got to tell you, I'm very excited about a nice 6:30 start tonight. That 8 o'clock start last night. Those games just drag on, and somebody's got to do something about the end-of-game stuff in the NBA. The fourth quarter in particular, the last 2 minutes, can take an eternity. We're looking at everything. We're calling timeouts. And then we're fouling, and 2 minutes of game time turns into a half an hour of real-world time. So if Adam Silver's worrying about changing the quarters from 48 to 40 minutes, just work on speeding up the final couple minutes of a game, because that's where most of the time can be made up. We just need to expedite that process. We need to expedite reviews in those portions. We need to maybe change the rules to where I don't care how many timeouts you have the whole second half, but when it gets down to the final 2 minutes, you shrink, you get 2. That's it. That's all you get. You get 1 or 2. Speed things up in the latter part of the game. Game starts at 8 o'clock. I'm going to bed 11 o'clock. The game's not even over yet. So I welcome with open arms tonight a 6:30 start at Houston, the last game for the Phoenix Suns before we head into the All-Star break. So will they go into the All-Star break a 500 basketball team, or will they be 2 games below 500, potentially widening the distance that they need to overcome in the Western Conference playoff race? The good thing for them right now is there's nobody that they have to climb over outside of the playoff race. They are team number 11. So if they climb back in, they're in, right? They climb over a team, they're in. They don't have to climb over San Antonio. They don't have to climb over Portland. All of these other teams that are behind them, and the 2 that I just named are the ones to keep an eye on, right? San Antonio, now that they added De'Aaron Fox, Portland, with the way that they have been playing as of late, both of those teams have to climb over the Suns and then another team to get in. As it sits right now, the Suns 1 game back of the Warriors and Kings, who are in the 9 and 10 spots. The Spurs 2 games behind the Suns, so they're 3 games out of a spot, 3.5 out of the 8-seeded Dallas Mavericks. The Portland Trailblazers are 4.5 back of Golden State and Sacramento. So they have to climb over the 1.5 game gap that they have over the Spurs, but then also past the Suns and the Warriors. So it's a larger hill for them to climb. The Suns just get in front of Golden State. Golden State loses tonight to Dallas. You beat the Rockets. Pretty sure when we get in here tomorrow, flip the standings. The Suns are back into the playoffs. They're back into the play-in tournament. So tonight, to close out the first half in air quotes, we've played 54 games. We are well past the midway point. But to get into the All-Star break, the Suns will be taking on the Houston Rockets, the 33-20 Houston Rockets, the 5th seed in the Western Conference, Houston Rockets. But tonight, the Rockets will be without their starting point guard in Fred VanVleet. They will be without their starting power forward in Jabari Smith Jr., and they could be without their starting center. So they could be without 3 of their starters. I was looking today at the injury report, and you see a bunch of names. Okay, how often do these guys play? What's the rotation look like? All of the top rotations for the Houston Rockets. They're 5-man rotations. If you just look at it in 4-man chunks, a lot of them involve Fred VanVleet. A lot of them involve Jabari Smith Jr. A lot of them involve the guys that are already ruled out or who could potentially be ruled out. So the Rockets are pretty banged up going into tonight. Definitely going to be without their starting point guard. Definitely going to be without their starting power forward. And could be without their starting center. And just statistically speaking, a team that is closer in the standings than Memphis was. Memphis all the way up as the 2 seed. Houston all the way down here as the 5 seed. All the way down here as the 5 seed. So a team closer to the Suns in the standings. And I'll tell you, I liked the fight that I saw from the Suns in the second half. They did not roll over. Memphis, over and over and over again last night, kept the door wide open. Lead was 13 at one point, and you felt yourself going, man, they're just not putting this away. The Suns are going to go on that little push. How is Memphis going to handle it? And the Suns went on that little push, and they shrunk that lead. I believe it got as small as 4 at one point in the fourth quarter. And they just couldn't hit shots. 27.3% from 3 last night. So the fact that the Suns were in that game shooting that poorly from behind the 3-point line, and if you missed it in hour number 1, I think it's our stat of the day, so I will make sure to bring it to the table again here. The Suns last night shot 27.3% from behind the three-point line. 27.3%. The stat that I want to share with you is that their normal clip is 37.5%, which is good for sixth in the NBA. Their 27.3% percentage last night would have been 3 percentage points worse. It is 3 percentage points worse than the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA, the Orlando Magic, at 30.5%. That's how bad of a night the Suns were having from behind the three-point line. That's how bad it was for them. Didn't catch the breaks. The luck didn't go their way. So you look at tonight and you say, you played well last night. You played well despite shooting that poorly from behind the three-point line. You expect the luck to kind of bounce your way here at some point. You're playing a Houston team that's banged up, not going to have their starting point guard, not going to have their starting power forward, could be without their starting center. So 3 guys in their starting lineup could not play tonight. And you have Kevin Durant, you have Devin Booker. The luck factor should go your way. I know you're on the road. I know it's the second leg of a back-to-back. I get all of that. Tonight feels like one you can steal. It doesn't feel the same because that game was at home, but doesn't this feel a little like that Memphis game that we blew up about a couple of weeks ago? Remember how angry I was? At home, you lost to a Memphis team that was without their top 2 rebounders, had a lot of their scoring out, and you got beat at home. This feels like a very similar scenario. No Fred VanVleet, no Jabari Smith, might be without the starting center. And I know they've got a lot of young players. I get all that. But the Suns will have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker tonight. The Suns will have their 2 stars. They have a chance in tonight's game. Tonight feels like one you could steal. We have been waiting for the game that we could look at and say, hey, you can steal this one. And I know yesterday I said that I liked the Memphis game more. The reason why, front leg of the back-to-back, you're home, feels like the better of the 2 matchups. But the injury report, the way that the Suns played last night, the fact that the luck should go your way, you could have very easily won that game last night if a couple of those threes went your way. And I know you didn't play great, right? You turned the ball over 12 times. You gave up 60 rebounds. You got out-rebounded 60-42. You got out-rebounded 20-7 on the offensive glass. You didn't play well, but you were in the game. And if some of those threes start to fall, despite playing so poorly defensively, despite allowing all those offensive rebounds, despite not playing well in transition, you might have been able to steal one. So that confidence that I have after watching that game last night tells me this feels like one you could steal tonight. Houston is not at 100%. They are not to their true talent level. Other than Bradley Beal, relatively speaking, Kevin Durant is available tonight. Devin Booker is available tonight. Grayson Allen available. Ryan Dunn, at least as of this moment, available. You have a chance, and I would say you have a pretty good chance. You could steal this one tonight. This leads us to putting the importance number on it. Producer Dylan, break out the spreadsheet. I gave last night's game a 3.75 on the importance scale. I am not going to go all the way to the other extreme and say that this is a 10. But the way you played last night, and what I mean by that is you played poorly. Defensively, you weren't very good. Didn't do a good job rebounding the basketball. Didn't have a great night shooting the 3. You lost by 7. You got the lead down to 4 at one point. The momentum was shifted in your direction. Devin Booker didn't play great in the fourth quarter. I mean, that game had all of the making of you getting blown out by 22. And Memphis left the door open, and you didn't kick the door off the hinges. You kind of politely just moved the door open and walked in, but you stayed in that basketball game. So that, coupled with that Memphis is a better team than Houston, coupled with Houston being injured, we know they're not going to have their starting point guard. This is one you can have. Let's go 6.5 on this one. When we started this, I gave the Minnesota game, a 6.25? When we started this, that was a team that was better than you in the standings. That was a team that was around where Houston is. And I said, you're at home. You can win this game. This is one. Tonight against Houston, you can win this basketball game. you can go into the All-Star break 500. You could, depending on what the Warriors do tonight, walk into the All-Star break holding on to a play-in tournament spot. And I got to tell you, it would be one game, but imagine the narrative for the final 2 days of this week. Imagine the narrative, us leading into the All-Star break, if we are talking about a basketball team that went into Houston tonight and beat Houston. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns walked into Houston and they beat the Rockets, the 5-seeded Rockets. Think about how that would skew the narrative going into the All-Star break, leading into next week, which has San Antonio, which has Chicago, which has Toronto. You look at those games, you say, man, you just beat Houston. You're going to be well-rested going into San Antonio. Things could start to maybe look positive for a moment. Not like it looks like outside right now where the weather doesn't seem to be cooperating today. It could. So will tonight's game match the weather outside, or will there be a new narrative that gets born tomorrow? I just have this feeling. Yesterday, my feeling was Memphis. Today, my feeling is you can steal this game tonight. We asked you to steal one of these 2 games this week. We said, could you steal one of the next 3, really? Because you got New Orleans coming up for a back-to-back. You've got Chicago, Toronto. I need you to steal me one of Houston, Memphis, and San Antonio. You didn't do it last night against Memphis. You almost had a chance. You almost stole one last night. I think tonight you can steal one. I think you can go into Houston and be the better basketball team and win. Coming up on the other side of the break, we wrap up today's edition of the leftovers, of the lunch break with the leftovers. There is a tournament starting tonight in Hockey Land. I'll let you know about that. I'll tell you how the sports books did on the Super Bowl and another Dallas Mavericks story. All of that in the leftovers next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Listener rewards for you with the KDUS 1060 app. Download today to hear all of the national and local shows you love. That's the KDUS 1060 app.
Been to the Disneyland Resort before? Or haven't been here at all? Your next favorite thing about this place is waiting to be discovered. Sure, you might have been on It's a Small World. Who doesn't love that? But have you found your inner hero at Avengers Campus? Avengers Assemble! And maybe there was that one time you yo-ho-ho'd on Pirates of the Caribbean. But have you rebelled against the First Order on Rise of the Resistance? Or have you dropped on in to check out Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Discover your next favorite thing about the Disneyland Resort. For a limited time, children ages 3 through 9 can visit a Disneyland Resort theme park for $50 per child with a special one-day, one-park ticket. Valid January 7, 2025 through March 20th, 2025. Park tickets and reservations required. Visit Disneyland.com for details.
Only 50% of Arizonans believe their health insurance will cover them in a major medical emergency, like a car accident or an unexpected life-changing diagnosis. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona aims to change that perception. AZ Blue often takes care of more than 99% of hospital charges in major emergencies, protecting you and your family from devastating financial consequences. To learn more about how AZ Blue protects its members, head to azblue.com/true story.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 5-star Google reviews from across Arizona. Like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, the bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Have you downloaded the KDUS 1060 app yet? Download today and get all of your favorite local and national shows right on your phone.
That's right. Make sure you download the KDUS AM 1060 app. Your one-stop shop for everything. KDUS AM 1060, your one-stop shop for everything. The lunch break. You can take us with you
on the go. It's super easy. You just download the app, you sign up, you register, and you just press the button. You hit the big play button, boom, you're in, you're listening to your favorite shows. You're listening to the lunch break. Maybe you just got back, you're done, you got your Chipotle, you got your McDonald's, you got whatever you were getting for lunch. You're going back to the desk, you're going back to the office. You take us with you with the KDUS AM 1060 app. The leftovers, all of the stories we didn't get to throughout the day, or at least the ones that I find interesting enough to discuss here on the show. We pile them all into the plate. And we get to them here to close out the show. The Four Nations tournament. I guarantee you, there's a lot of you who just listen to me say the Four Nations tournament, and you have no idea what I am talking about. Not a clue. You have no idea what this is. Well, in lieu of a all-star game or an all-star weekend, the all-star festivities, a replacement that was decided upon between the NHL and the NHLPA is a Four Nations face-off. It's going to start tonight, the first game of which is Canada and Sweden starting at 6 o'clock. The tournament is going to run from February 12th through February 20th. It is a round-robin tournament featuring teams that have NHL players representing their countries. The four countries, Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States. So a round-robin format. All of those teams will play each other, and then the top two teams in the standings will play in the championship game on February 20th. So tonight, Canada against Sweden at 6 p.m. will kick this off. So this is the NHL's way of doing something different during the All-Star week. I love this. I love this for a bunch of different reasons. I love this because it's unique. I love this because it is really the first of the all-star weekends where the commissioner has raised his hand and say the old way wasn't doing it, we're scrapping it entirely. The NFL kind of did this, but they still play a flag football game and they still do all their nonsense in the week. This is a complete scrapping of all-star weekend. This is a complete scrapping of, hey, we're not going to take over a city for a week. We're not going to do a skills competition. We're not going to do the fastest shot. We're not going to do any of that. We are going to take all of it. We are going to throw it to the side, and we're going to do something completely unique, something completely different. We are going to have the Four Nations face-off. Will it work? I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I'm way more invested in this than I would have been the NHL All-Star weekend. This does have NBA in-season tournament vibes because you're not really playing for anything. It's the first year that they're doing this. They've come up with a trophy. But to understand how important this is, Sidney Crosby missed the last couple of games with the Pittsburgh Penguins due to an injury. He's playing for Team Canada tonight. That's how important it is to him to don the Canadian flag and play for his country tonight against Sweden. This is also taking place in Montreal, by the way. And there's one game a night. This is perfect. There's one game tonight, one game tomorrow. You got two on Saturday, two on Monday, and then the championship game is next Thursday. I love everything about this. The next two nights, entire slate to yourself. Canada, Sweden tonight at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, the USA and Finland at 6 o'clock. I will absolutely, tonight for sure, be going with the dual screen experience. I will have Canada, Sweden on the tablet, and on the big screen tonight, starting at 6:30, I will have Rocket Suns. Guaranteed, no doubt. I will absolutely be doing that tonight. And I think the other commissioners, whether or not they completely copy the idea, baseball already does the World Baseball Classic every 4 years, so I don't know if they would necessarily steal this. But I wonder if the other commissioners are going to be paying very close attention to how this is received, how it works, how it's received, what the ratings look like, what the competition looks like. If it doesn't look like the way all-star games look like nowadays, where you can tell that the players don't really care, and why should they? And then I wonder if Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, Roger Goodell, they don't debrief off of this and try to say, hey, what would this look like for us? And the league that is best suited to do this, something like this, would be the NFL, because they do their festivities, their all-star week festivities when the season's over. So there's no risk of injury. If something were to happen, there's an entire offseason to rehab, right? The NHL, after this happens on Thursday, they're going to return to play, and there's a playoff race. And then there's the playoffs and the chase for the Stanley Cup. There's a lot going on. So the NFL might be paying very close attention to this to see if there's something that they can steal here. And I don't know if it would be an exact carbon copy, but if they could see the success, if it is a success, and do something of this, do something like this themselves, have their version of this. Sportsbooks in Nevada, a combined $22.1 million were won by the sportsbooks in Nevada on the Super Bowl. The sportsbooks won $22.1 million. Think about that. We know how much betting happens on the Super Bowl and on big events like this in the first place. The sportsbooks won $22.1 million. The last time they won as much money was back when the Seattle Seahawks beat Peyton Manning's Denver Broncos. They won $19.7 million. That record number comes as there was a drop in the total amount wagered. There was approximately $151.6 million bet on the Super Bowl this year with the Nevada sportsbooks. That is a 20% decrease from last year's game. So just another indicator that there wasn't a whole lot of interest in these festivities this year. Now, last year's game took place in Las Vegas. That certainly helps. And that record was $190 million in total wager. $151.6 million, the lowest since 2021 when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers met up with the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know who won that one. But $22.1 million won by the state sports books in Nevada. Now, New Jersey, their sports books took $168.7 million in Super Bowl bets. That was a 19% year-over-year increase. And I don't necessarily know what the numbers were here for the sports books in Arizona, but I'm sure there was some money wagered there as well. But this is, the leagues are trying to get a handle on all of this, and they are in bed with all these gambling companies, and this feels like a monster that is growing out of control. 151.6 million is a big number, and it's a decrease from last year. If you didn't know these numbers and I just told you 151.6 million was wagered on the Super Bowl, you'd be like, man, that's a big number. And then I was like, yeah, it's actually less than it was last year when it was 190, nearly 200 million on one game. This is one event. $156 million, $151.6 million wagered on one singular sporting event. Not the whole season, not 1 week, one singular game had $151.6 million wagered on it. That is insane. And the Nevada sportsbooks, they did okay. They did all right. So we told you the other day, this is our last story here. We told you the other day about the Mavs losing to the Kings in overtime and lighting the beam and Anthony Davis being hurt and the trade aging poorly. Well, there was a fan that was ejected from that loss for starting a chant of fire Nico. Nico Harrison, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, the one who put together this trade to send Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers and to get Anthony Davis back in return. A fan was removed. It is said that he broke the NBA code of conduct. Multiple fans were ejected due to violations of NBA's code of conduct. There was a large poster board held up that said fire Nico. One of the men that was ejected also was seen mouthing the words fire Nico on the arena video screens earlier in the game. This is from the Mavericks statement. Quote, in the first incident, the guests brought in a sign that broke the following rule included in the NBA code of conduct. Clothing, garments, or signs displaying explicit language, profanity, or derogatory characterization towards any person. I mean, okay, if that's the way you want to look at it, that's fine. Not sure it really fits the bill there. But it's not good down there. Those fans are very, very upset. And I don't blame them. They're kind of taking it a little too far. There's some concerns. There were some death threats. We're kind of crossing a line here. So I understand want to err on the side of caution, but it's not good down there in Dallas. Jim Rome is up next. Producer Dylan, thank you for all that you do. We're out of here. We will talk to you again tomorrow. Everybody, make it a great rest of your Wednesday. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS